Hello and welcome to Spiritually Inclined. My name is Crystal, and on this channel, if you're new here, I share aspects of my spiritual journey as well as my experiences, and I also share spiritual insight. So today I would like to talk to you guys about karmic debt, karmic retribution, karmic contracts, things of that nature. Because nothing in this life happens randomly. The only things that may happen randomly is, as a result of free will and the choices we make on a day-to-day basis. Other than that, nothing happens randomly. And today I want to explain that and hopefully help you gain an understanding as to why things happen, like murders and, tragic events and, things that happen in certain families where tragedy is like their whole family, just going through tragedy or whatnot. I'm gonna go off on a side tangent about that, and I would like to say that I am an avid watcher of, the little crime videos and the channels on YouTube that follow different tragic stories about love tragedies and, just family tragedies, people who have killed their family and all of those sorts of things. So I've gained a certain understanding from a higher perspective about these things, and I just want to share my insight about that. So where do I start? So before we come to Earth, it is to my understanding that we agree upon things before we come here to Earth. So our soul signs up for a certain life path with certain events and things of that nature to shape our growth, throughout our journey here. We are God coming here to have an experience, and we're agreeing to forget and to have certain things lead us back to remembrance. And so a lot of things that play out here in the physical have already been agreed upon and, spoken about before we even get here. And that's between your soul and all the other souls in your life, or their soul and all the other souls in their lives. And so the clarity I've gotten about this is that when there's tragedy playing out in families and things of that nature, I feel like those, from the understanding that I've gained, I feel like those are karmic contracts and maybe karmic debt that is being, played out in the physical due to maybe some karma that has to be repaid from a previous lifetime or whatever. With us being God, different aspects of God expands into the physical through us, as us. I would imagine that each aspect probably take a go at being here more than once. You know, I may have past lives where I've come here and my life may have ended differently in the past lives, and this life I came back to try to do it right this time. And I feel like when a soul sets out at first, you know, they are like babies in the spiritual realm, and their growth comes from coming here to earth, you know, taking a shot at, you know, the lessons and things that can be learned here on earth, and maybe had some issues along the way, got here and got too wrapped up in the physicality of it all, and, you know, derailed off their purpose. I feel like that's how younger souls are. You know, the young, the reckless, the ones that don't care about consequences and things of that nature. I feel like they are newer souls, because God is expansion. God expands, is constantly expanding. So there are souls who has taken rounds of earth, you know, been through all the grades of earth or whatever, because once a soul comes to earth for whatever the experience they choose, you know, beforehand, before getting here, before materializing here, if they don't come here and accomplish that, because you get caught up in the dream. So once a soul keeps getting derailed from the purpose after coming here into this physical realm, because earth is like it is for a reason. We have distraction, you know, everything that's going on with the government and all of that. Those people are playing their part. You know, I believe that God created all types of life forms, and one life form that's here, you know, controlling things are the reptilians. They are doing their part in creation, especially on planet Earth as a school Earth, to try and, you know, gain your focus and your energy while you're here, which creates a challenge. You know, like a video game isn't a video game unless there's a challenge, an obstacle to get through, you know, lessons to learn, and you know, levels to make it to. The matter of fact, on a side note, the video game concept is the perfect analogy for how it is with us and God. God is the player. Like, you yourself is the player. When you put that game into the console and you get on there and you make your character or whatever, I'm gonna use The Sims. The Sims is perfect because it's a life simulation. It's a real life simulation game that's just like, you know, how it is here in the physical realm, but only it's in like virtual form. So I'm gonna use The Sims as a concept. So, you know, God would be you know, plugging in to play the game or whatever. Chooses a body. We choose our bodies. That's another thing I've learned, you know, in my quest for knowledge. We choose our bodies. We choose everything about our lives. Everything. The lessons, you know, all of that. You choose where you're gonna live. You choose, you know, your life, the people in it, everything. All souls get together and I'm gonna be in this family with this person. I'm gonna be so-and-so's daughter. You know, that sort of thing. So let's say, you know, you the player, God. You get on the video game, you're creating this character, you create in the Sims how they look, the clothes that they wear, you know, things of that nature. And then you put them into a life, you know. So they're in this life. They don't know that they're in this life, and they're just living. They're on the Sims, you know, they go to work. They have to pay bills and things of that. That's us here on Earth. We have to pay bills, we have to pay tax. Everything about the Sims is just like real life. And so, you know, that's basically what God is doing with us. But back to what I was talking about is that we enter into these life lessons here, and they play out according to, you know, how we did in the previous life. So I'm just gonna take, let's say it's a family, you know, this family. I'm gonna use the relationship dynamic because I watch a lot of those on YouTube. Let's say there's a guy and a female, they come together, and tragedy, where did I get that word? Tragedy strikes, and the guy decides to kill the woman, but they were so in love. Those are two souls from a past life that came here and with unfinished business. That unfinished business was tragic, but nonetheless, it had to play out so that when they come back again, they can choose differently. You know, you have to pay back your debt. Karma is the scales of justice. And whatever type of life, let's say I was evil in the past life, I come back this life, I have to, you know, pay the karmic debt for what I, you know, for the karma that I created for myself in my soul lineage in this lifetime. So I may have been a killer in the past lifetime, but in this lifetime I have to be a victim where I get killed, where, you know, the scales of karma can, you know, balance out in that way, so that when I come back, when my soul decides to come back, I can start fresh and anew and make better choices this time around. That's the insight that I have on why tragedy strikes in with certain people and certain families. And we as onlookers, we look at it and we like, oh man, you know, that's messed up. You know, why did she stay with him? And, you know, on a soul level, is so much going on. We are looking at the surface of certain things that happen. But what we don't know is, because we're in separation consciousness and we forgot that, you know, on a soul level, we agreed to come here. We just thinking these things is happening randomly, when on a deeper spiritual soul level, it was agreed upon between those people before they got here. They only agreed to be here for a certain amount of time. You know, everybody, each individual soul is here to live their own life. Yeah. And we agree not taking nobody else into consideration when we're gonna leave here. So I always say that it's best to have a healthy detachment from people, like just with with an acceptance and a knowing that, you know, this physical situation is not forever. It's only temporary, you know. I don't know where things are going. I'm guessing that, you know, it's gonna become more permanent as we make these shifts with the earth and all of that. I think that, you know, our bodies are undergoing changes where we're supposed to be immortal, even in the physical form. We're supposed to be able to choose whether we want to be in these bodies or spirit form. We can be whatever we want to be. We're God. Think of a God when it's depicted in a movie or something like that. A God can do and be whatever a God wants to do or be. That's us. But we come, when we're coming into a veil of illusion which has been created by our other divine counterparts here, because that's what they are. They may operate on some of the lowest levels of consciousness, but they still a part of the narrative, and God works all things out for its good. And we wonder, so this also helps, you know, whoever's watching this to understand why it looks like God is up there watching, you know, babies get killed and women get raped and sex trafficking going on and all of that. But those souls signed up ahead of time for that experience here. That's why it's happening. Everything that's happening is meant to happen and has a divine purpose behind it. It's just all playing out. It's just God everywhere having all experiences. God is even those babies. God's spark lives within those babies who are being trafficked. And not to say that it's not a good thing when you think of it, but it's all happening on a divine level for a divine purpose. So we can just rest assured that, you know, we have no control over those things. We don't like that it's happening to us, you know, us lighter, more pure souls don't like to, you know, see, but it's all of it is an aspect of God. God has lower aspects that God don't operate in except through us. God operates in it, in all of its aspects through us. That's all this is. This whole existence is just God experiencing all aspects of itself in physical form, and that is us. So yeah, these tragedies, I be watching those things just to, you know, see the other stories that people are playing out. And it's just playing out. This is a stage. We're acting out stories. God is having different experiences through this real tangible physical environment that's constantly being created by consciousness. When we think of something, we materialize it. Whether we putting in the steps to create it and make it, you know, tangible form, or if we're just thinking it up and the universe rearranging itself to make it happen. But our thoughts and our consciousness, our belief systems, and all of that is shaping our reality around us. When you realize the power that you possess from within, it's time to start getting to know that aspect of yourself. It's time to come up out of this separation consciousness and start getting to know that part of yourself so that you can experience the full potential of who you really truly are. That's not this body. That's not this life that you're living in. It's the divine consciousness within you. That's who you are. So I hope this video helped whoever was able to tune in. If you're connecting with me and if you like what I'm talking about, and if you want to get some more of my insights and my perspectives on, you know, the divine truth, because that's what my intention is set forth for, then by all means connect with me more. And until next time, I say I love you, my other divine aspect of self, and take care.